schedule has been a little hectic, but thank you for being flexible. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's fine. I understand. I know it can be a lot of work. So if it's fine with you, do you want to just jump right into it, or?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So again, I'm Sheena Luke. I'm a journalist for the WHSAD's newspaper, and
Yay.
and I attend WHSAD's My Sister's Keeper program on Thursdays. And through My Sister's Keeper program, I have like earned a renewed passion, and I really enjoy looking at women empowering. I like seeing the fact that you're empowering young women and taking so much in consideration into the future generations to come.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to gain another perspective, which is why I've contacted you.
Thanks.
So, so first question to begin, can you just quickly introduce yourself and explain your role with My Sister's Keeper North Brooklyn and explain what My Sister's Keeper is and its mission statement?
Sure. So I'm Dr. Rushell White. I'm the director of continuous improvement at Brooklyn North High Schools. My role is to support schools in continuous improvement plans. I started with Brooklyn North High Schools last year in the midst of the pandemic. And so not only am I working with schools that need support with instructional planning, developing rigorous curriculum, and engaging students in instruction, I brought to the district the My Sister's Keepers program. And prior to becoming a director, I was a principal in a middle school. And so, as a principal, I had several programs that supported the young men in our school communities. And so, um, at, the students at the school used to tell me all the time, well, Dr. White, I can't believe you're a female, and you're only doing programs pertaining to young men. And so I had to make sure to let them know that not only am I doing programs to support young men, because of the need. I had a high population of young boys, and they were not performing as well as the young ladies were. And so I had to like get partnerships and support young men, got partnerships from JP Morgan Chase, got them mentors, got them financial literacy, helped them with behavior management. And as a result, our boys really excelled. And so the young ladies wanted a program like that, as structured as the boys program. And so I developed a young ladies program, a young ladies leadership group. And so when I transitioned over to the director's program, to the director's position, one of the things that the superintendent, Janice Ross, expressed to me is that she wanted a My Sister's Keepers program in Brooklyn North High Schools. And so we looked at the need, right? We looked at how many students would that impact. And so of the 27,000 students who are in Brooklyn North High Schools, um, 9,000 of them are Black and Brown women. And so we looked at the data to see how students were performing. And as we know, there is, a large achievement gap between Black and Brown students and students of other races. And so we wanted to just support those students with their academic development, give them an outlet, give them an opportunity to see success, see themselves um, in the future being successful, and making sure that we have a pathway for their growth and development. And so we launched MSK last year, around this time, end of October, and we went in it for to target those 9,000 students, but more of the students who were in Brooklyn North High Schools. And successfully, we inducted 500 young ladies across 47 high schools, and each school had a chapter, and each chapter had a chapter advisor that met with them on a weekly basis, just to make sure that they get a sense of um, you know the possibilities that are out there for them. And so, in terms of the mission was to ensure that we provide our young ladies with prospects, with aspects of themselves, so that they can see themselves successful in their journeys as students. So I just want to talk a little bit about the tenets of my sister's keepers. We started with three tenets, and each tenet represented the curriculum that we expressed to the advisors. We met with advisors each month, and we provided them with a curriculum with just initiatives that we wanted them to engage our young ladies in. And the tenets are fellowship and agency, leadership and engagement, and youth impact. And that's an acronym for FLY. We wanted to make sure that we provided students with the opportunity to see themselves as fellows and that they are taking agency in their learning and that they have opportunities to lead and engage in their school communities and that they have an impact on their school communities as well.
All right, thank you. And you mentioned that you only started MSK last year, and
Mhm.
the amount of reach that and how much you've been able to grow it so far, I find that really amazing. And I
Um,
can't imagine how much work you have put into this. And considering the growth has been so far in 1 year, I can only imagine how much it's going to grow in, let's say, 5 or 10 years to come. But
Absolutely.
yeah, speaking of 5 or 10 years to come, how do you feel like a program such as MSK is so important for our future generations? Like, forget about the women you're working with now, the young women you're working with now. How do you think this is going to impact like their children or generations to come? What do you think MSK is going to? What name do you think MSK is going to build for itself? Do you think it's going to stay and be solid, such as MBK that's already starting to build as well?
So definitely MSK is, when we sit back as a woman myself, I sit back and I think about my journey to success and I think about all of the women who came before me and truly just created a pathway for my growth and my development. Those women that I leaned on for support. Um, I remember being in high school, I was a dance major. And so there were a lot of sisters keepers that were around me. I had ladies who were much older than I was when I started in the ninth grade. And I kind of looked up to them. And when I became a 12th grader, those ninth grade, 10th, and 11th graders started looking up to me. It was always a thing, right? It was always a keeper kind of thing, but we didn't know, we didn't have the language at the time to contextualize that this was a growing thing for young women. I think about all the women in my family, my aunts, my grandmother, who came before me and truly just helped to pave the way and supported me in my career choice. And I did the same thing for my nieces and cousins and so on. And so in a school setting, we really wanted our young ladies to start thinking about those women in their lives, right? We're not only looking at bringing them people that they don't know about, but having them be able to see the women that are currently in their lives and see the strong support and agency that they and the space that they take up in their lives. Some women have some of the young ladies have sisters and cousins and aunts and moms who are constantly just there for them, constantly giving them words of advice and so on. So we wanted to create that energy in a school setting under the umbrella of My Sister's Keepers. Um, we want young ladies again to see that their path, they can choose a path of success because others have done that before. So we want our young ladies to be able to um, tap into the resources that are available to them. We wanted them to create an energy in their school community where they can, as students, journey. They're going through the journey together with other students, and those who are further along in the process are able to reach back and help and support and give words of advice and just help to make that path a little bit smoother than it would have been. So in the future, yes, I see MSK becoming, we have one of our um, we have students who go to college and they join sororities and so on, and those are kind of examples of my sister's keepers. And you have women who really just help to support other women get to their journeys. For example, Vice President Kamala Harris, she was is a member of a famous sorority, and she looks at those women in that sorority as her sister's keepers, and they look at her as their keepers as well. So being able to just be an example, be a role model, and letting young ladies know that, you know, it's going to be okay. Whatever your journey is, it will be okay, and you're going to access that success.
Thank you for that. While I was growing up, I often looked to my mom or sister, really, as my mother figure.
Mm.
And since I came to WHSAD and was exposed to my sister's keeper, so far this year, we've only done it for 2 weeks, but already I feel like I've growing a connection to the other girls in the program. And I feel like our bond are getting stronger. Like as of right now, we're currently collaborating with my brother's keeper on this small project, and I feel like this is a really important and big step to creating a big change. And like for now, I feel like it might be seen as small on paper, but when you expand it to communities and as it grows, the impact is really going to stay there. And in terms of role models, I really admire that because when you, let's say, grasp a concept and you will share it with other people and you will share it with people to come, generations to come. And I feel like that concept is something that's going to stay in the world forever.
Absolutely.
But and that leads me to my next question.
Mhm.
You mentioned that you've had interacted with a lot of young women so far with in that 1 year of since my sister's keeper was founded. How do you feel like those my sister's keeper has personally have had an impact on you specifically? Like I understand that the young women are obviously taking stuff away from my sister's keeper, but I want to know how you feel from it, how you've grown as a person, how you've changed since joining my sister's keeper.
That is an excellent, excellent question, right? Because we have a tendency of thinking that when we put things out there that we're only impacting others and that it doesn't have an impact on us. It's reciprocal. My sister's keeper has just grounded me in the work. As an administrator in the Department of Education, um, I don't get the chance to interact too much with students. I do a lot of professional development with the leaders in schools, with the principals, with the assistant principals. And so directly connecting with students hasn't necessarily been a part of my journey, except through my sister's keeper. And so when I get on, a video chat with someone from WASAD, for example, who's interviewing me, I mean, it is absolutely immense. Like I try to make sure that I keep space for that. I keep space for interacting with young people and being able to hear from them and see them, so that I can come back and plan and try to make sure that the initiative that we're putting forth is making an impact. And so it does ground me in my work. It does help me to remain focused. It does give me the drive that I need, to come back and absolutely, say yes to this program and say no to that program because, it's not for kids, or this program would be more beneficial for students because I've heard from them, their opinions and how they feel and what they're working on in their schools. So it's amazing. It keeps me grounded. It helps me to plan better. It gives me the motivation, not that I need any more motivation to support students, but it certainly keeps me on that continuum to make sure that I absolutely fight on behalf of our students and provide them with every excellent opportunity. When I walk into a school, I see the possibilities of students. I walk into a Spanish class and I wonder why the students are not in a Spanish country studying Spanish, and I come back and I'm pushing, let's do a trip, let's do an international trip. Let's take our students to different places. Let's have them have these types of experiences. We have one shot. I keep telling a lot of principals and a lot of school leaders that as a leader, you have one shot to make it right for students. You don't get a do-over with students. Like this is you're a senior, Sheena. What's your
Oh, I'm currently a sophomore.
sophomore? So as a sophomore, we don't get the chance to come back to you as a sophomore next year to impact you, to give you some tools that you need. We don't get that chance. We get the one shot. And it's important for us to make sure that we are providing you with the utmost opportunity for your success and not to be able to, not to belabor that, not to be able to sit back in mediocre thoughts, but to always go out there, access resources, providing you with the opportunity for your maximum growth.
Thank you. And I truly appreciate the amount of effort you're putting into this because I'm just, if you look at how many people are in this earth, I'm just like one person out of billions. So I truly believe and I truly feel, how do I say, I would say special in a sense to see that you and other people are putting so much effort in making sure that I receive this information, this growth.
Absolutely.
And other than that, you did mention that you don't that you work in the behind the scenes kind of, and you don't interact with too many girls, young women as much. So, in a behind the scenes perspective, have you had any challenges or have you faced any doubts in the development of My Sister's Keeper in this past year?
So, the challenges that I faced are included the time frame, included not having, I feel like I wanted to do so much more with the initiative that when I look at there's only 10 months in the school year. And that was my challenge. And the challenge was during a really difficult time globally during COVID, where we weren't able to truly do the program the way that we wanted to. Even now, like we're not able to do a lot in terms of gathering students together, taking them to different tours and opportunities, which is really the vision that I had when planning out MSK. It's making sure that students have access to, the city as a classroom, the state as a classroom, the country as a classroom, and the world as a classroom stage, as opposed to, virtual connections and so on. So those are some challenges that I faced. And some successes, of course, as you mentioned, are just being able to launch the initiative and seeing the number of students and even guest speakers. I mean, currently, I'm still getting folks emailing me, contacting me, wanting to be a part of this program. Like yesterday, I met with a judge. She's a housing court judge. And I met her on the weekend because I went to a political event and I saw her hat and I commented on her hat. I was like, your hat is really cool. I love that hat. And she came over and we started speaking. And she asked what I did, and I explained to her what I did. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, that's amazing. How can I get involved?" And I said, "Give me a card." And on her card, it says Judge Capel. And I immediately said, "Wow, you're a judge." She says, "Yeah." So I said, you would be perfect. Like we need you. We need you to speak to young ladies. We need you to create a program for them that, will help them to see that they can step into the world of law, that they can become judges, and to provide them with internships. And she agreed wholeheartedly that she's going to throw herself into this program. She is going to create opportunities for internships for students who are interested in law. She wants to take them to the courtroom. And for now, it's going to be virtual until, the courts open up to visitations and so on and tours. And, it's just amazing. It's a matter. I have this kind of mantra that I follow every year, which is um, your words are very powerful. And when you um, write down words of intentions, you'll be surprised at how the universe just aligns to make sure that those intentions come to life. And so I do write down goals and expectations. I write down yearly goals and expectations. And sometimes they're really, really large goals that I look around, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get this done within a year. And by the time I write it down and I'm intentional about how I write it, it's like everything comes together to make it come to life. And so that's an example of MSK and the initiative. It's we started off with one thing and it became just a beautiful experience for young ladies and for the initiators. And so having a lot of people just coming on board, wanting to support this program is just an example of the magic of words, and intentions. So I'm excited about MSK.
And I am too. I can't wait to participate in all of that. And you had mentioned, I'm sure that COVID has been a really big challenge,
Mhm.
especially in networking and getting girls to connect to each other. So back to like a future, I'm looking in the future for a bit. How do you think, as years progress and COVID dies down a little, how do you think that you'll be able to expand MSK, and how do you think you'll be able to take MSK to the next step?
So that's a great question. Um, just keep pushing on the original initiatives, which is making sure that young ladies get a chance to interact in a physical space together. The year prior, MBK used to take their boys to the Barclays Center, and they would gather together with role models who would come and speak with them. It'll be similar to that vision for MSK, but I would like to take the young ladies to different parts of starting in New York, different parts of New York, seeing women in leadership. I have a partnership with the Women in Aviation Committee, for example, taking girls to JFK International Airport, having them tour a plane, seeing the engineers, female engineers who work on these planes, seeing female pilots, having being mentored by them, taking them to Wall Street, having women in the financial world to sign on to mentor our girls and giving them a glimpse into their lives and how they got there. CEOs of organizations and companies being able to be a part, women in politics, just being able to expose our young ladies all around, nationally, internationally, to all these amazing women who are really doing a great job in making sure that we are globally, in alignment with excellence.
Oh, sorry, the
That's
microphone
okay.
just decided not to work for a second. Um, I feel like that's how do I how do I phrase this? I definitely think that that's an amazing idea because as a younger kid, well, I'm only 14 right now, but when I was like say 6, when I
Mhm.
was looking at movies, I didn't necessarily see any women any women that were properly represented, especially brown women.
Right.
So the idea of having young women meet their role models or just seeing other women in high places and seeing that they're able to achieve such things and get those opportunities, I feel like it will be very impactful and it'll definitely stick with students because I'm sure that it would stick with me and I it will definitely make me have a different mindset. Um, So I feel like you've answered all of my questions so far. I just want to say thank you for coming and making the time to speak with me because it's been really, really impactful to me specifically. And I really adore the amount of work that you've put into this. And
Thank you.
I want to say thank you in general for making having the time and making the effort to have MSK be a thing in the first place. So thank you.
Absolutely. Sheena, you're doing an amazing job. And every time I talk to you and students like you all across Brooklyn North high schools, I am so heartened by your energy and your work. And I see the light in your eyes, and I just want you to continue with that light and continue to shine. Understand that the work that you do is giving someone else the opportunity to walk through a path that they may not have seen themselves in success with. So continue doing that work because it's not just your journey that's dependent on your focus. It's others that are, behind you, as so to speak. It's those third graders who are looking to get to high school. It's those sixth graders and eighth graders who are currently in their schools and trying to figure out their lives, their next steps, their high school. And if they see you as a student who has walked that path and is successful in it, and you're making, giving them the grounding and the opportunity, it's for that. So always think about that. It's not just your journey. That there's several people standing behind you, waiting for you to continue in your path to success, so that they can be successful as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for your motivation. Thank you for reaching out to me. Thank you for consistently putting on my calendar when when everything else wasn't working out. I truly appreciate your efforts and your motivation, and that inspires me each and every day.
You're welcome, and thank you seriously because it's really been my pleasure. Um, so that's really it. So I hope you have an amazing day,
Thank
and
you.
I'll stay in contact with you. So I'll let you know when everything's up and posted. So
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Sheena. Take care.
you too.
You too.